So without any doubt, the new European Bauhaus has a transformative vision that contributes to citizens' well-being. But this obviously comes with implementation challenges. To answer all these issues, we have Grazia Concilio. She is the engineer and associate professor of urban planning and design at the DASTU, Dazzu Polytechnic of Milan in Italy, and coordinator of the Palimpsest project. Grazia.
Una molt bona tarda a tothom. Estic molt honrat de estar aquí a Barcelona. Muy buenas tardes a todos. Estoy muy honorada de estar aquí en Barcelona hoy. Good afternoon, everybody. I did my best, sorry, for destroying your languages. So, I am really honored to be here. Thanks to everybody and to all that believed my presentation here could be of any value. So I will try to bring you inside the making of one of the projects that has been just quoted as funded under this incredible new European Bauhaus initiative. And this, I would like to bring you into this binomial, which is there for us in the terms, but very difficult, to be implemented. So the first question I will discuss with you is what action for innovation? Some of these actions are clearly there for us. No? We recognize when they are innovative, but what we need nowadays, also due to the urgencies of some of the challenges that have been discussed long today, those actions need to be disruptive. Disruptive intended here as able to change trajectories, break system resistances, and enabling systemic transformation, changing trajectories. This means we need to go somewhere else. This is difficult to accept, but that's the challenge. They need to be experimental, meaning that we are not sure of the impacts, of the results, of the achievements of what we are trying to do. And this means that for us, any learning from these actions is precious, positive or negative. And this means that we need to learn together. And this is what many of the programs of the activities, of the initiatives that have been presented today are in this direction. We need to implement networked experiments. Why? Because we have to learn from each other to make knowledge, the knowledge that we will develop in these experiments, a common good. This is already challenging. Why? Because knowledge is one of those resources that we consider crucial for competitiveness, and not all are, available to share what they learn from experiments. So this is a change in the mindset, a crucial change in the mindset. We need actions which are inclusive. Everybody is a resource. This has been said so well yesterday when the different speakers in the performances that we have witnessed told us, hey, we could learn, the artists, we could learn from others. This is not what we are used to, and we need to make this our lifestyle. Also, we need actions which are mission-oriented, so they need to be tailored towards relevant societal challenges. We have big ones in front of us, and this means that we have to mobilize all our energies, all our cognitions, skills, competences towards those challenges. If actions are like this, then innovation can be tested, can be developed, can be adopted through action. And that's why the title of this presentation is reversed. It's not action for innovation, but innovation in action. We cannot wait to prove that some initiatives are good. We need to rush to make action already innovative, already having a transformative capacity, even eventually running small risks, but if we learn together, this would be anyway an added value. So if this is true, innovation is able to scale through action and through action to enable transition. The second question, why and how the NEB? She was much better than me, but let me just point out a couple of things. So, summarizing what has been said before me, the new European Bauhaus Initiative wants to connect art, culture, and creativity to the European Green Deal, which is there, to warn us, don't forget where we should go, and to our living spaces and experiences. And it looks at projects, places, practices, and experiences that are beautiful, sustainable, inclusive. In the previous presentation, we had a clear understanding of what these three pillars are. But let me go to what Marcel Proust told us quite some years ago. Art is one of the supreme opportunities for that gentle revolution of senses and mind that breaks through the constraints of habit and inertia and points the way to a genuinely new life for each of us. So let me go back to the previous slide and tell you that this idea of breaking the inertia should be with us in every minute of what we are doing. Because these three terms, beauty, sustainability, and inclusiveness, are very often reshaped with interpretations which are fully functional to stick in the inertia. And I think this is what we should warn ourselves. We should change the inertia. And if the actions that we have talked earlier are those as we are imagining in this room today, well, Salvatore Iaconesi and Oriana Persico, one of them is no longer with us, but they told art is open source. Why? Because as artists, they were trying to get engaged by the challenges, and they understood perfectly that in order to plug in real systems and their phenomena, we need a multiple amount of knowledge, skills, capacity, competences. So neither artists can do this together. Maybe this is a bit extreme. We know that we love many artistic and creative and design production which are developed, in individual spheres, but to achieve what the new European Bauhaus is asking us to do, we need to conceive innovation, creative action as open source. What are the challenges in this perspective? We need to create, as it has been incredibly well said before me, co-creation environments where artists, creative people, designers, architects are engaged with others skills, with other abilities, to make visible the hidden and its consequences for people, living creatures, and common goods. We need to be together to co-create together action having a political and symbolic value to deprogram the imaginary. This is crucial. We need to change trajectories. We need to understand really what we can do in a disruptive manner by creating new utopian and dystopian narratives, so decolonizing systems of representations which are there to stick us on the same trajectories. And obviously, to take direct action, we need to enter the real. We need to be there, to make dirty our hands, not with blood, with good things. And we need to do this, obviously, to start a new, reshaped dialogue between human beings and nature. Now, this is just a part of the challenges that this implies, because it's difficult. We have collected here many good stories, but they are not enough yet. Why? Because these are the challenges. First of all, we don't have a unique language to make all those competences, skills, professionals talk together. They may have huge cultural distances that we need to understand how to make eventually values rather than problems, to reshape dialogues, to talk about new manner to interpret things when values appears to be in conflict rather than being synergic. We need visions to drive us in this long and challenging trip that we are trying to do, even breaking resistances and understanding how to deal with interests which keep us always in the same pathway. So, in the palimpsest project, we took it seriously, and this is what makes me worried every day, because I think we may fail. We may fail. Palimpsest is a Greek term that means rewriting over the papyrus, and which was a practice that was such that every time you rewrite over a papyrus, you write actually on a new structure, on something new, because it is continuously remade, but is always the same support. So the idea was to consider this practice in this manner, to look at practices which are shaping landscapes, like those that everyone knows in agriculture. We know very well, I don't know, the hills in Tuscany. They are so well known, and so we consider them so nice. They are the result of what we have written over time with practices there. So the project Palimpsest will bring in the rethinking of those practices which are challenged by important environmental problems, to understand what can we do to improve those practices, or to change those practices, to make those practices able to produce new sustainable landscapes, which are now very fragile. And in this respect, we will launch a call in a few days from now to engage creative agents, artists, architects, and designers to work with us in residencies that we will run in the 3 pilots that are joining the Palimpsest project, to create transition drivers for heritage landscape sustainability, to leverage, to really make explicit the social function of architecture, art, and design for sustainable landscape generation, and by discovering where the added value of these creative agents is, we hope we will be able to also support and empower the cultural and creative industries. We have several already working with us. We will run a call that will be based on narratives that is based already. I have today already checked it again. Developed that will be run over narratives and scenarios that we have developed already in a co-creation environment with many actors working in the 3 pilots. We will run what we call the creative dialogues. We will meet some of them so that they will be better engaged in the contexts. They will make a final submission. We will select a team or a group, we will see, and we will engage them in what we call, what is very well known in the architects and artists world, these residential workshops, twice in the pilots, to develop prototypes that we are still far from imagining what they will be. We will do it together with them. And we will also test these prototypes in the real of the pilot's context. We will do this in these 3 pilots. Łódź in Poland is a very fragile city. The most of it is an urban tissue made of buildings which were there for textile industries. They are regenerating these areas, bringing back citizens to this area, with also providing also a decent living function, residential functions. But they are doing this within an incredible challenge. This city is in one of the most polluted area in Europe because of the position, because of the geography, because of some practices. And so the idea is to understand how to create this landscape in a manner which is also taking on board the challenge of air and water pollution. Jerez de la Frontera, I don't need to comment that much on that, is one of the best known region for the production of wine and for the production of many other things. So the identity is very clear, is very strong. Still, they are also very good for wind power plants because it's one of the most windy region, and there is a great attention on this. So we need to understand what to do here, how these 2 practices can cohabit this area, this context, and try to find the best we can. We are in one of the biggest conflict that we can experience in this making of the challenge. Milano and the metropolitan area of Milano, where recently we are experiencing one of the never-seen drought. Citizens in this area are not used at all to this. Usually the problem is just the contrary, too much water. While now there are practices like rice production, for example, which are suffering from the lack of water. And no practice exists in the area from residential or agriculture that deals with this problem, even in a region where we deal with 4 kinds of water, rivers. First level groundwater, which is a bit polluted, but so good to be used for drying plants. Second and third level of underground water, different categories, different kind of waters, quality of waters, all used in a manner which is not at all sustainable, not at all capable to give this region the capacity to deal with this problem. So, stay tuned. The call will be out in a few days. We would be happy to host you in our initiatives, and thank you very much for your attention and for inviting me this day.
Thank you. Grazia, Grazia, I'm thinking about calling you next time to host with me. Thank you for that energy. It's incredible, and that passion, no? It's the kind of passion we need for after lunch. And